This is Omar Abdelrahim, your government QB, coming at you from Washington, D.C. All right, today's topic, extremely important. This could be major cost savings for any company that is looking or starting or exploring or even investigating trying to market and sell their products and services to the federal government. Number one, it's a GSA schedule. What is a GSA schedule? What does it stand for? Well, GSA is an organization that is federally funded. It's called the General Services Administration. They came up with this methodology or this technique of selling to the government by being like a pre-approved vendor and things of this nature. And it's a negotiated contract, not a competed contract. It's very important. It's a negotiated contract. What does that mean? This is basically products and services that you can demonstrate that you've sold in the past commercially, that you are eligible to add those on to what they call a GSA schedule. And this GSA schedule, there's many different kinds depending on the product and service that you offer. And you will add those products and services on that GSA schedule. What that basically does is it affords the government the opportunity to do some less due diligence or less paperwork on their end in order to buy your products or services. Okay, now, most important is, sounds great, Omar, yeah, why wouldn't I want to do that? Well, before we spend any money on anything of that nature, we need to confirm, hey, does the government prefer to buy my product or service using the GSA schedule? I've seen this so many times where companies say, oh, and they went ahead and spent anywhere from $8,000 to $20,000 getting the GSA schedule. Come to find out, the government doesn't really prefer to use that to buy their products and services. They utilize other means. So that was a wasted money, right? It was a waste of money. So that's why I mention that, because until you confirm, unless you do your due diligence and your homework to confirm that the government has and prefers to use a GSA schedule to buy your product and service, that GSA schedule really has very little to no value to you at this time. Okay, that's number one. Number two, minority certifications. Minority certifications, what they do is there are specific certifications that the government has identified and that they utilize as a preference to buy products and services. Well, that sounds great, Omar. Why wouldn't I want to get that? Well, another common mistake that I've witnessed and seen over this decade is that it sounds like a very good thing. But what happens is that sometimes the government or different parts of the government, they elect not to use that preferred mechanism or that preferred minority certification in order to buy that product or service. And there's a lot of reasons for it. And that could be in a future video that we can discuss that. But essentially what happens is just because you get that minority certification, it doesn't mean that you are assured or guaranteed to get any contract whatsoever. Okay, let's just get that straight right out of the gate. Now, if once you've done your due diligence, reached out to the government, confirmed that the government does prefer to buy your product or service getting or through these minority certifications, then absolutely. You do it yourself, hire a company, whatever you do, then it becomes extremely powerful, right? But until you're able to confirm that, it really has little to no value to you, okay? The other thing is companies tend to spend a lot of money on these expensive platforms, database platforms, which has access to this government data, right? Now, I'm not saying don't get a subscription, right? But if you're going to pay $5,000, $6,000 or more than that when you're first getting started, that's a big chunk of money to shell out just to get access to this information. There are more cost-effective solutions out there. Now, they do have their purpose, okay? And once you're able to demonstrate and confirm that the level of information that these systems give you is going to help you get into specific parts of the government, then at that point, it might make financial sense. But in the very beginning, I would recommend you hold off on that. you can get a lower subscription or a more cost-effective subscription just to get access to the information to help you make data-driven decisions. But do not, in the very beginning, invest a ton of money in these databases right out of the gate. Okay. The other thing is business development. Once again, you're going to get called by a lot of companies as soon as you get your SAM.gov registration and you're activated. Okay. And maybe even before you're activated. And they're going to sell you, or they're going to try to market business development services to you. Okay. You know, if you think about it, well, that may not be a bad thing, right? And it may not be, and it may be good. But the reality is right now, when you're first getting started, you don't know what the value of that is. Okay. Number one, you need to understand, first of all, how does this whole thing work, right? And then once you find out how the whole process works and how to do it, then you're more educated to pick the right business development process, whether you're going to outsource it or do it in-house. Okay. But until then, it's really hard to spend money on that. Now, if I were to say, if you need to invest anything in getting started in the very beginning, is some sort of mentorship or coaching in how to build a government business. This I can see value in. Why? Because it really helps you identify what are the key components of a government sales process, a government business process. And then that will help you to establish the key points to find out how the government likes to buy what you sell, what is their preferred mechanism, how often do they buy it, and then what do they use? Do they prefer minority certifications, and which ones? Because there's several of them. So with that being said, that makes perfect sense because it tells you, or it'll help you get enough data for you to make a data-driven decision, and an educated one, whether you need to invest money on a GSA schedule, minority certifications, or business development, or these expensive platforms. So this is just food for thought for those of you who are just thinking about entering into the government marketplace. And by the way, Government QB, what we do is we mentor and coach companies, and we help them build go-to-market strategies. We do this investigative research with them, not for them. We help you do it. We show you how to do it. We show you what the information means, how to act upon that information. And then basically at that point, then you can really understand, hey, you know what? I probably should get a GSA schedule, or I should go get a minority business certification, or let me go get the subscription because now it starts to make sense. Now I know what that means. I know what it's going to do for me. And then at that point, then you know, and you have a really good understanding of your business development approach and your go-to-market strategy. Once again, thank you for attending this video, and keep an eye out for additional content coming up very soon.